What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Sean Williams. Welcome to another episode of Mental Health Matters, where we figure out where people start and where they are. Fuck, I messed it up. Let me do it again. No, I'm going to get this. I need a fucking intro. I got to get this.
What flows better? Like, it doesn't have to be what you said. It can just be something that flows and it's good in that moment.
Yeah, that's true.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your boy, Sean Williams. Back at it again with where we talk about
Mental Health Matters.
Mental Health Matters. Where people are going,
where they started,
and where they're going,
or where they started, where they're going. Oh no,
successful.
How they started, how they became successful,
and how you can do it too.
Exactly. Let's try that. I need to get this because I messed up a bunch of times with the other ones, so I want to get this today. Here we go.
I'll be honest, just speak slowly, and when you speak slowly, you feel like you're talking like very slowly, but when you see yourself on camera, you feel like you're speaking at a normal TV proper pace, to be honest.
Your intro's a little fast.
Like Anaya, you know? Like Anaya.
All right. Perfect. Thank you. Give it a minute. I just get excited too. This is so fun.
No, podcasts are fun.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy, Sean Williams. Welcome to another episode of Mental Health Matters, where we figure out where people start, how they became successful, to let you know that you can do it too. I am joined here today with my guest, Asia MacRae. How are you?
I'm doing well, Sean. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Let's get right into it. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm someone who is also involved in sports media. I love it. I love podcasting, watching blogs, writing articles, editing, because being in sports is exciting to me. And I know once it stops, I'm going to want to keep myself around it, So I plan on, after college, still being around sports, even though I am a student athlete. I continue to still live that athlete life after it's done.
Absolutely. So I see here that, you played basketball, you're really successful. Tell me what it was like, the recruiting process, I'd say. How did you get to Sacred Heart University? What was that experience like?
Getting to Sacred Heart University was a journey, I will say, because, being a young girl playing basketball, it's like, it's a fun sport initially. And then when you continue playing and you get older, it becomes more of a competitive thing. And it's like, you kind of want to be the best at what you're doing around other people who are doing the same things,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I want to take this and see what I can really do with it. So initially I was playing basketball just for fun. I was kind of tall growing up. My dad was like, oh, let's get you into basketball. And it became a thing that I love to do. So I was like, I'm going to keep playing ball because I like playing basketball. And I started to notice that, hey, like, people were coming up to me saying, oh, you're pretty good. You could go on and do good things. And I wanted to do that. So I was like, why not take it to the next level and get a college scholarship?
Wow. So how did you get into, how did you get to Sacred Heart, I guess? Did they reach out to you? Did you reach out to them?
So I played AAU. I played AAU from maybe 5th grade to high school. And when you become a certain age, I think it's after your freshman year of high school. I forgot the rules. Don't quote me on that.
You're good.
But college coaches can reach out to you. And when that started to come around, it was like, oh, like, this is real. Like, I could actually go to school for free. Like, when you're playing sports in general, it's like, oh, it's fun. And then you get older, it's like, oh, I can make money from this. I can go to school for free for this.
Thanks.
So it started to become like a goal of mine. And they reached out to me. I played in some tournaments and they saw me, liked my game. And at first they sent letters because that's like the rule of NCAA. And then after that, it was phone calls and eventually a visit. And after that, it was like, well, I'm coming here.
So at Sacred Heart University, you get recruited, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk on or no?
You can.
You can walk on?
You can walk on. Yeah, we have walk-ons on our team.
Really?
Mm-hmm. We have 3.
That's crazy because I thought in the guys basketball team, don't quote me on this, but they all get recruited. You can't walk on.
They have walk-ons there too.
Really?
Yep.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I was wrong. Well, that shits on everything else I was gonna ask.
It's okay.
No, absolutely, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So I mean, freshman year, how was that for you?
Freshman year college basketball was a process.
Mm.
I went to a very competitive high school and back at home in DC, so I was used to like that, I guess you can say, the grind of being a basketball player, but it was nothing like college. Like the early mornings, the late nights, it was crazy. I mean, in the summer, we would have 2-a-day workouts, camp, overnight camp, having to stay with the players overnight, and then we have workouts in the middle of the day. And then when school started, it was still morning workouts, morning conditioning, strength and conditioning workouts in the morning, and then a 9 a.m. or 8 a.m. class, and then practice from 11 to 2, and then homework after that.
Jeez.
And it's just like, it's a schedule for you literally every day, and it was rough. I mean, I wasn't used to that in high school. I mean, I was used to like running the track and running bleachers, but getting up at 6 a.m. to run the track at 7 a.m., I wasn't doing that in high school. So, it was definitely an adjustment, but I think it made me stronger, made me a better person, made me understand like being organized and having time management because who really wants to get up at 6 a.m. in the morning?
No one.
Nobody. And especially to get up and run a track. Like, so having to get my mentals ready to do that was definitely something I had to get used to.
Would you say it was a conditioning process? Like you were conditioning yourself to get you ready
Yeah.
and used to the college experience?
100% conditioning, because you have to mentally and physically condition your body and your mind to say, hey, I'm going to do this every day at this time. I'm going to do these things to help me get better at certain things. So yes, I definitely would say it's conditioning.
What was it mentally? Like how difficult was it to get in that mental mindset? You come from high school, college is a different animal.
Yeah.
What was the conditioning you had to go through mentally to tell yourself, hey, okay, I have to do this even though I don't want to?
I would say I took a lot of support from my teammates and my family to like give me that confidence that, hey, you can do this. Because trust me, I had my doubts. Like literally my first workout in the summer, I was like, can I do this? Can I like do this stuff all the time for 4 years and even 5 maybe? Like,
it's a big commitment.
It is. And it's like, it's a lot. Like, it's a lot to do. And I don't think people realize that, but it really is a lot on your body and your mind.
Mm-hmm.
But I think support was like the biggest thing. Having support to know that people believe in me, to know that I can do it, so I should believe in myself.
Wow, that's fantastic. So, talking about your body and being in great shape, so you got injured sophomore year. Tell me about your mindset during the injury. What was going through your head?
Honestly, I think I was just scared. I had a lot of friends who tore their ACLs in high school, and
It's a serious one.
it was like a known thing in basketball in general. In the sports, you can always get injured, but tearing your ACL in women's basketball is way more common than men's basketball. So it was like I had friends and teammates around me in the past who had those injuries, and it's like, oh, like, knock on wood, thank God I've never had to go through that. And when it happened, you just kind of just know. And it's like after you know in your head, it's like, well, I'll wait until it's confirmed by a doctor. But then after, it's like that mental question about, well, what's next? Will I be the same person I was before in the court, before I got hurt? How am I going to get better? How's my rehab going to go? Will I come back faster? Will it take me longer? Like, it was always questions about what was next from me. Because like I said, I was playing basketball since I was, I don't know, not 4, but like 5 or 6. So being benched from the games that I loved for so long, I was out for probably a year and some couple months. Like, and then when I came back, it was COVID, so that kind of like delayed my process. But yeah, it's just a matter of what's next after you go through something like that.
Have you ever had a injury of that magnitude before that?
Nope.
So this was like the first time this has happened to you ever, and you had to deal with it.
I wouldn't say injury-wise, but something that severe, yes.
That's severe, yes.
Yeah, ankle injuries I've had, sprained ankles here and there. I had a broken nose and a concussion that I had to get surgery for. I was playing in an AAU tournament, and my teammates and I were playing like in a game, and I was diving, doing my thing, hustling and stuff. Diving on the ball for a loose ball, and my teammate and I literally collided, and we bumped heads in a sense, and I broke my nose. My eyes were black under here.
Oh my gosh.
I had to get surgery. I missed like a month or so from school because I had a concussion.
Oh my gosh.
That was rough, but it definitely wasn't an ACL injury. I could definitely get up and shower if I wanted to. I couldn't do any of that when I got hurt. So it's definitely severe and extreme.
Wow. So you said you couldn't shower?
Couldn't shower. Not for the whole time. But after surgery, you can't walk on your leg like that. So you have to crutch, and the pain that I was in, I didn't leave the bed for a couple of days. Like, and if I went to shower, my parents had to help me. Like, I went to use the bathroom, parents had to help me. I couldn't go down the steps to get food. They had to bring food to me, and it's like I like being able to walk around. Some people like their legs, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
part of
it's kind
everything.
of nice, you
It's
know.
kind of nice having legs. So being able to, or knowing how that felt to not have legs for a moment was just like it was humbling, and it also made me, appreciate my legs even more.
Mm-hmm.
But it was hard, being able to or not being able to do for yourself was hard. So,
Absolutely. I think I remember one time, not as greatly, like, not as severe as you tearing your
mhm,
ACL, but I broke my thumb last summer
mhm,
and I tore an important ligament. So I was out for the rest of the summer. I wasn't able to train.
mhm.
And on the small scale of it, I was like, wow, I really like have to use my thumb for a lot of things and I
Yeah.
can't, I couldn't really use
Yeah.
it. And it's like, I get that where you were
Right.
saying that when you don't have something, like when something's taken away from you in a way,
Yeah, you
and
miss it
then
more.
you miss it more, but then you don't realize how important it
And it's
was
yes.
daily. And I think that's really important. But aside from the fact, how was your support system? Would you say that the girls in the basketball team were behind you, your parents?
100%. My teammates, I will say it's hard just knowing that you can't be there with them, but it's like they know what you're doing. They see you. They
Mm-hmm.
see you going to rehab. They see you coming in every day, on the sidelines doing extra cardio or something to stay in shape. They see your progress. And a few will text you and check in, and then others will be like that the vocal person when they see you on the court. It's like, hey, Aisha, like, you got it. And my parents, of course, parents are supportive. And they, always told me, take it one day at a time because they would see that, I was struggling. They would know that it probably is a challenge and it's difficult for me knowing how much I love basketball. So they were definitely supportive. I would say that.
That's good. That's good. So from that injury that you had,
Mm-hmm.
what did you learn?
A lot, Sean. I think I learned a lot about my mental approach to things changed. Like you
Mm,
said, learning and understanding that certain little things are so important, and that honestly, to put it in the grand scheme of things, I learned that life is just not about basketball. And I think I started to
mm,
take my future more seriously after I got hurt. I started to think about life after basketball because in that time it was taken from me. So it was like, Aisha, if you didn't have basketball, like what else would you do? Like what else would you be interested in? And granted, everyone has hobbies. Oh, Siri.
my watch does that sometimes too.
Why are you talking to you, Siri? Sorry. But yeah, just understanding that after you're done being a college athlete, and let's say, everyone doesn't go to the pros. So it's like, what are you going to do to put yourself on that next journey that makes you happy? Because basketball makes me happy. And it was like, okay, cool. Like I'm a sophomore. I have 2 years left. How are my 2 years of college going to go? And I started to focus on myself more, focus on my future plans and my goals and my aspirations, and spending more time with friends and enjoying the little things, because I really, being a student athlete does wrap your life into a certain thing, which is your sport a lot, and you don't have time most days for extra stuff, like staying out late too much or, doing other college, kid things. So I don't know, just enjoying my path and not being too worried about just basketball.
That's interesting you say that. And you realize this sophomore year?
Yeah.
That's really early because I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that until like a few months ago after I was done wrestling.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting you say that. I guess in my competitive nature, I was all into wrestling
Mm-hmm.
for the 5 years that I was here.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that looking back on it now, I wasn't a regular person. I let the sport kind of engulf me a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
where that was all I was doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's really mature for you to notice that you were like, hey, not a lot of people go professional. I
Mm-hmm.
still have to focus on my daily life as being a regular person.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important because, you have to come down from cloud
Mm-hmm.
nine eventually.
Yep.
And I think you preparing for that early
Mm-hmm.
was a great lesson that you learned. I think that's fantastic, especially coming from an injury, and I can just see what you're not saying. I see the fact that, it was mentally and physically exhausting
Mm-hmm.
not being able to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
But it was also like, hey, I gotta be real with myself. And I know how hard that conversation can be with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to be successful, you have to be real with yourself. You
Mm-hmm.
can't lie. There's a difference between affirmations and, just lying to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It comes with being truthful and also realizing what's in front of you.
Right.
And you realize that, your days were numbered
Mm-hmm.
with your career,
Yeah.
but you were also preparing for that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think a lot of people come in after sports and they feel like they're just dropped in life and they're like, I don't even know what to do because I've just
Yeah.
been so submerged?
100%. I
Really?
feel that now. Even though I have a plan, I still feel that. It's like,
Really?
yeah, I mean, it's like, what's next? I know what's next, but it's like, I wouldn't say I don't think about what's next. I would say I'm worried about what's next because I've been in this bubble for so long, and it's like, okay, I'm about to enter a new one, and I have this plan to help me be happy in it, but like, will it work? It's like you question it a little bit, but like you're excited to go out there and do it.
Mm. Yeah. You have to go out there and do it eventually.
Yeah.
Like that's very mature of you to know. I'm not saying you're not mature, but I'm just
not
saying like 2 years ago, if we put ourselves in our position, sophomore year, we didn't even know what we wanted to major in. So it's
Right.
like for you to come in and
Right.
say that's amazing. Um, how was it balancing school life and injury, possibly being done with college in a couple of years, all these things
Hard.
hitting you, and obviously things that were day-to-day problems as well?
It's hard. You kind of hit it. I forgot the quote, but you already answered this. It's mentally draining. Like it's mentally draining to think about having to catch a ride to go to class because you can't drive because you're on crutches. It's mentally draining to think about how you have to crutch down steps to go to class or crutch a long way to the elevator. It's draining thinking about how after class you have to go to rehab or before class you're going to rehab. So you're tired and it's like it's just draining because having something like you said taken from you from your day-to-day lifestyle can throw a wrench in your plans, and having to crutch around and ask for help all the time and have to take things slower and try to slow your life down and get accustomed to this new life is mentally draining. And that's really the only thing I can do or say to describe it is just mentally and physically draining. But it's just, and I will also describe it as just another obstacle. Even though it is hard, it's just another obstacle you have to go through life as your journey.
Absolutely. I do you think that it's good now that you have, because I had a similar journey as well where it's like you have to do some of the hard things now in college.
Yep.
Practice, I call it, so that you can be better later on.
Yeah.
So my question is that do you think that college is practice in a way? Not saying basketball practice, but practice for life.
For life. Yes, because because if we think about it, we do all these things, go to school to get to that point. It's all practice, elementary school, middle school, high school. It's practice for you to grow as a human, as a person, so that when you get to life in the real world where there's no more teachers, babysitters, mom and dad, it's like you are your own individual. College is that last step in terms of like, okay, here, boom, this is your last test to figure out what you're going to do, who you're going to be in your adult life. So yes, I would 100% call it practice because you have to balance time management, distractions, temptations, and do all this and maintain a decent grade point average just to stay in school, just to stay on your basketball team, football team, wrestling team, whatever it is you do, just to stay in a club that you're a part of. So it's like you're built up and raised to do all these things just for that one last test, which is college. Your fake adult life. You have restaurants and friends and clubs and homework and tests and things and other things to do, work study, people who have work studies or people who are a part of different clubs and have meetings. And it's like you have to have a certain balance to make all of that work. And in life, you have to have a balance to make your life work. So, yes, I definitely feel like it's practice.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you
Yeah.
100%. So you're coming out of college, you know, you're kind of on your way out.
Mm-hmm.
You played basketball all your life.
Mm-hmm.
What's your major? What are you getting your master's in? What are you getting master's
My master's degree is going to be in journalism, media production, and I studied sports communications and media in my undergrad.
in? Wow. So do those things go hand in hand?
Yeah, 100%, because media is just, to me, it's just little stories. Journalism are stories, they're articles. It's putting together something so that other people can see and get their own view of it. But it's also targeting. What are you writing the article about? What is it? What audience are you targeting? What is your social media post saying? Like, who is it that you want to talk to? What are you trying to tell them? They're all stories, and I feel like sports is just exciting stories. Like, who do you know that doesn't like sports? Besides, I mean, you're a guy. Guys might say females don't like sports, but we love sports. So yeah, I feel like they definitely go hand in hand because, it all intertwined at the end of the day, So.
Wow. That's good though. So you're in the Pulse as well.
Mm-hmm.
How would you say that journey was?
It was nice. It taught me a bunch of different things about the media industry. I learned how to write articles or write stories, I should say, stories, scripts. I learned how to use a camera. I learned how to make my own podcast, edit my own video, shoot my own stories, put a story together and make it flow. I learned a bunch in that class, and it was great. It's a great hands-on experience to see how news production or a sports production is put together, because you have all these different parts. You need a script, you need editors, you need to edit the video, you need to make the sports story flow. So even though my journey or goal is not really news based, but they, like I said, they all intertwine together at the end of the day. So being on the Post was great because it taught me a lot, and I feel like I know um, I know equally amount of information about pretty much everything: camera, writing, storytelling, reporting. And it's like, okay, I will feel comfortable going in either one of those fields if I wanted to. So yeah.
Wow. So I see on your social media you post a lot of videos of you at basketball games. Why?
Because I want people to know that, for one, I am a supporter in women's basketball. Two, that I'm surrounding myself in the environment that I want to be in. I want to be around sports, and I've said it. I've told my friends that. I've told you that, and it's like, if I'm not doing it at school, I'm doing it somewhere else. So, and plus it's advertisement. Like, it's like, oh, like, where's that game? It's at New York. What team is that? Oh, it's this team. Like, maybe somebody who I tell it to will go look up the team. Maybe that'll spark an interest in them to learn more about women's basketball. I'm a little bit advocated for it.
Are you doing something now that you want to do for the rest of your life, or is it a process and it's in a completely different field?
Everything's always a process. Like you said earlier, we're in college, like we're about to start our own lives, and even the job I get now, I might not like in 5 or 10 years, but like it's a part of my journey. It's going to help me get to where I want to go, and it's still in an environment that I love. I never want to have a job that I don't like. So, like I said, sports is exciting. Like, even if it's writing an article about sports, or if it's editing the highlight clips for sports, it's like it's still sports. So, whatever I'm doing with sports, I would never look at it as, I mean, it is a job, but I would never look at it as a job that I just have. Like, I don't just have this job. It's like I worked hard, and I earned this job, and I like this job. Like, I like having this type of work in my life. Like, who wants to have a job and not like it? Like, you want to be happy in life, and if I can't be happy at work, then how am I going to be happy in life if I'm not happy at work? So I'd rather be happy at work and be a part of exciting moments and buzzer beater shots and ones and dunks and block shots. Like, that'll get me going. Sitting behind the desk and, I don't know, being bored all day is not going to get me going.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why after all, the mental kind of warfare, the drama, the just excessive fatigue,
Yeah.
why still basketball? Why do you still wake up, go to games, do all this, be submerged in the sport? You're
Yeah.
done. You're not gonna play anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you still want basketball in your life?
I love it. I grew up with it. It's like if you had that, I don't know, a toy or something that you grew up with, and like you don't know where it is now, but it's like if I had that toy, like I'd be happy. Like basketball's not a toy by no means necessary, but it is an object, a part of my life that has built me and molded me into this person that I am today. And it's like if I can use that and have that in my next part of my life in like a different facet, not physically playing, but around it, talking about it, tweeting about it, recording it, like why not? I'm familiar with it. It's comfortable and it's something that I know makes me happy because sometimes being comfortable and settling for what you already know cannot always be the best thing.
Mm-hmm.
But if it makes you happy and you know that like the younger version of you or the older version of you would still like it, then why not have that for yourself?
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because I had another guest on here that made that exact same quote. He's like, I want to do things that my 8-year-old self would be proud of and my 80-year-old self would be proud of. That's a great way to have, to guide yourself on the path that you want it. Were there days where you were like, I can't stand this sport, I don't want to be here anymore?
Of course. Like,
tell us about that.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I love basketball. I love it a lot. But being a student athlete is hard. It's a lot. Like, it's a commitment. And being hurt, like, that adds on to it. It's like, you're going to have your days where during rehab, I hated it. I didn't want to be in rehab. I didn't want to be in the gym because it was like, I'm just here not doing anything. I'm here doing rehab, pushing my body to the furthest point that I can get to. And it's like, damn, like, when do I get a rest? And it's freaking tiring. But it's like, it's part of the journey. And even when you're not hurt, there's days in practice where it's like you're dealing with, classes, family issues, just normal people things. And it's like, when do I get a break from everything to just focus on myself? And it's hard to do that when playing basketball because you're trying to do well in the court, do well in the classroom, maintain a social life. And it's like, sometimes you hit that brick wall and it's like, damn, like, I wish I could just not play basketball for a week and be regular and then come back to it. But you can't. That's not what you signed up for. So it's like, you have your days, but it's a love-hate relationship, but it's more of a love. It's more of a love than a hate.
Yeah.
But you definitely have your days that you battle with it, not gonna lie.
I love that you said I couldn't agree more if I were to say what about wrestling. Basically exactly what you just said right there. So oftentimes in life, we hit a brick wall, like you said.
Yeah.
We hit obstacles. Things happen where a simple ACL tear will take the carpet from under our feet. To go about life and to stay consistent, you have to take preventative measures. When you do that, speaking of which, what do you do now and what will you do in the future so that you don't run across something like this again in life? What will you do to prepare yourself?
Honestly, I feel like you can't prepare yourself for obstacles in life. Like, they're going to come, and the most that you can do is just, for one, pray about it and hope that it gets better. Two, know that you have... Well, one thing I will always say is that, or my mom always says, to piggyback on my first point, is that God will never give you a challenge that you can't overcome. Or
Absolutely.
She'll say, like, God doesn't give his toughest battles to his, best soldiers or something like that.
He gives his toughest battles to his strongest angels.
Yes,
something like that.
Something like that. And it's like, it may be like cliche, but it's real. Like,
no, it is real.
It's real life. Like, even if, like, let's say I break a nail, that's an obstacle. I broke a nail, my finger's bleeding, it hurts. And it's like, oh, it's broken. But it's like, okay, how am I going to fix it? And that's like the smallest thing, like the smallest obstacle that can happen. Or you miss a train. It's like, shit, I missed a train. But like, okay, I'll catch the next one. Like, there's always an answer. There's always a resolution.
Being optimistic.
Yeah. And I feel like being prepared for that is just knowing that if I got through this, I can get through this. Like, that's it. You just have to be confident. And that's easier said than done, because depending on what it is, you can be discouraged or scared or stressed out, because that's natural, because we're humans.
Absolutely.
But just lean on those who will support you. Try your best and leave it to God. And if you work at it, you'll figure it out. Like, it's not impossible. Nothing's impossible.
Absolutely. I love that. Do you have any words for people that are going through maybe a similar battle like you, or maybe just in difficult times right now? What are some words of, affirmation or anything to make them feel better that you have for them right now?
Is there a camera that I can... Oh, here. So, to the viewers, I would say to never give up on yourself and always believe that you can do anything. Like, if you can get through one thing, you can get through the next thing. Like I said to Shaun, always just pray to God, lean on your family, and just know that it can be done. It may be hard in that moment, but trust me, like, there's a quote for you. Here's your quote. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. It's cliche, I know, but it's true. Because like I said, like Shaun was saying earlier, once you hit that rock bottom and you hit that wall, it's like there's nowhere else for you to go. You've already hit the wall. If you hit the rock bottom, just come back up, figure out a plan, get some friends together, mom and dad, figure it out, but work yourself back up. And a day or so or a week after, you'll be like, you'll forget about it, or you'll be like, oh, that was so long ago. I can't believe that ever happened to me. Like, you just have to just like think about stuff like, okay, it's bad today, but in a month from now, I won't care about this anymore. That's really it. Like, just think about it like that. Like, it's there right now, and
pain is only temporary.
Pain, obstacles, challenges, only temporary. You can always get out of it.
Absolutely. Like Les Brown said, when life knocks you down, try to land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up.
That's right.
Absolutely. What are the next steps for you? What is your career? What do you want to do next after college?
After college, I want to get my foot in the door along the lines with the sports media world. I want to get into the sports media world. I want to get a job somewhere that I know will make me happy, but also help me jumpstart my career into getting to where I want to be, which is a sports broadcaster. Or if I find a love for something else, I'll get into that. But something in sports media, like, that's what I want to do. And I don't want to settle. I don't want to settle for anything else but sports media.
Absolutely.
Because I know that's where I want to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Asia. This was an amazing conversation.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a lot.
Absolutely. This is fantastic. I learned a lot. There's a lot of things that I feel as athletes that we have in common, with our sport and everything. And it's just great to sit down and talk about it some point.
Yeah, I mean, because we all go through the same battles. So,
we do.
Yeah.
We do. But, everybody has a different story.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So this has been an episode of Mental Health Matters with my guest, Asia MacRae, and we are out of here.
Bye.
Savon, cut it.